A better route. Chapter 152. Every ninja on the battlefield was trapped inside what could only be described as their own personal paradise. It was wrong by all means, but like most things that are wrong, it felt so right. Hinata was dreaming of her perfect wedding, every little detail being just the way she wanted it. Niji was still alive and was standing with rest of the Hyuga clan, who were all bird seal free. Kiba was dreaming of time with his family, or his family soon to be anyways. He saw his sister and brother-in-law playing with their new daughter, his wife playing their newborn child, and his mother and now living Tsunade giggling at the two of them. Konan saw Kakashi carrying her bridal style into their new home and giving her a gentle kiss. Behind him were her two best friends, Yahiko and Nagato, who were living and happy for the couple. Fu saw herself surrounded by her friends and dancing with Shino, who had finally taken all of the baggy clothes off and let his true face show. No one was judging the two of them for their bug love. B dreamt that he was on a massive stage with all of the world watching him rap. Even his brother was cheering him on as dropped his rhymes. Yes, it may have seemed wonderful, but it wasn't right in the end. It was all a lie, and lie that made life worthless. It's the worst of times that truly make the best of times worth living, and it seemed only a select few didn't realize that right now. Naruto, Mito, and Kakashi were all running at Madara right now, intent on stopping the madness. Madara saw them coming and got a dark frown on his face. You've already lost, don't you realize that, you idiots? Naruto and the others scoffed. Yeah right, like we're the idiots here. Madara raised his hand up to attack them. It's time to end this already. Suddenly the black figure of Zetsu appeared behind Madara. I couldn't agree more. He impaled Madara through his heart with his hand and the Uchiha began to cough up blood. Zetsu, but why? You're my will, my very desires. Zetsu laughed. You idiot, I've been playing you since the beginning. I rewrote the tablet in the Naka shrine, let you think that I was your will, and then tricked everyone around you into doing exactly as I wanted. Madara didn't understand. Let me think you were my will, what do you mean? Zetsu just kept laughing. I'm not your will, Madara, I'm Kagaya's. All three of the sages began to tremble and Naruto mumbled, that name, it's her. She's the one who's been planning this. Obito teleported next to them. Who's been planning this since the beginning? What are you three so afraid of? Kakashi explained, she's the sage of the Six Paths Mother, the first person ever to use chakra. Kagaya was incredibly powerful and went nuts because of it. Her sons were forced to seal her away. I don't know all the details yet, but it looks like Zetsu tricked Madara into gathering all of the tailed beast's power so that he could get Kagaya free once more. Obito gulped a little. You said she was incredibly powerful. Just how strong is she? Mito told him, it took both the sage of the Six Paths and his brother to beat her at the level she was at. She's way beyond powerful. Zetsu was still grinning. Kagaya managed to let me lose before she was sealed away. I lied in waiting until finally Madara decided he would put half of his will into White Zetsu. Once he decided to do that, I made my move. All I had to do then was make you puppets dance. Zetsu covered Madara's body and started raise into the air. He began to absorb the chakra from sleeping people, taking it in for himself. While they were busy trying to figure out how to stop all this, Itachi was busy explaining some things to Rin. He was holding a jar in his hand that a Sharingan inside of it. It's Shirsue's eye. I took because I didn't want it to fall into the wrong hands again. Rin raised an eyebrow. Alright, what do you want me to do with it? Itachi answered, what else, put it in my head. You know what this is capable of, don't you? Rin nodded. Of course, there was never anyone it was used on that it didn't take complete control over. Itachi looked at the jar. Right now we need every weapon we can get right now. I don't know if it'll be of any use, but I'd at least like to have it if it is. Rin couldn't really argue with that. Alright, give me the eye and I'll get to work. Hopefully this'll come in handy before it's all said and done. Back with Obito and the three sages, they were watching as Madara kept rising into the sky and absorbing more chakra. He was clearly in a hell of a lot of pain, not surprising considering what all was happening to him. No one knew what to do right now or how to try and stop what was coming. Obito noticed something else that was strange. A small bit of the chakra that was coming up wasn't being channeled into Madara, a little bit of it was going into his mother. Wait a minute, shouldn't she be dying since Madara is? Tuhiya heard her son and explained, do you honestly think I was working for Madara this whole time? Kagaya and I crossed paths in the afterlife. We were so similar in so many ways that when I given the chance, I just had to help her. Obito shook his head, you're helping a madwoman do something that just doesn't make the least bit of sense. I mean, just look at yourself. How can you think that any of this is right? Tuhiya jumped down by them, you are the same fool that you were when I left you, son. I must admit though, I admire your ability to keep fighting though. Although if you ever truly want to succeed, you'll have to kill your emotions like I have. Obito gave her an angry response, if you really think that you've killed all of your emotions then you're an even bigger idiot than you think I am. Tuhiya clenched her fist, I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. It sounded like you were implying that my emotions weren't in check. Obito ground his teeth, you three go on ahead, I've got to try and talk some sense into my mother. Naruto and the others figured that they'd better not question it, although Kakashi in particular did have a small urge to stay. They could hear the Madara had begun to scream even louder, so they just ran closer towards him and left Obito on his own. They were soon right under him, looking at the black mass above them. More of the chakra was streaming into him, and the black Zetsu was growing. That was until all of a sudden Zetsu suddenly shrank and Madara's screaming stopped. Sinking back to the ground, Zetsu crawled off from what was Madara. Now there was a woman with what appeared to be some kind of strange horn-like thing sticking out of her head, free at last. The time has finally come for me to rise up once again. Naruto watched as she threw her hair back and revealed what she looked like. She had a pair of Byakugan and third eye just like Madara's. It was a scary sight to say the least. Oh great, now we've got beat some. It took the sage of the 6 paths to beat. Kagaya giggled, which sounded downright terrifying with her sickening voice, my, it looks like we've got 3 sages here. That power, it feels familiar. So much like, my sons. Mito started to notice something, is she starting to cry? Kagaya wiped her eyes a little, so Hagoromo still thinks the world can handle this power. He's such a fool. I'll take back what's mine and keep the world safe from this power. Naruto shook his head, if I have to listen to one more person bitch about wanting to protect the world with this infinite Tsukuyomi crap, I'm going to fall into a sleep that has nothing to do with your freaking jutsus. Kagaya looked at the boy, well, you've already begun to annoy me. Naruto created 2 Raisin Shurikens in his hand and charged each of them with his sage chakra, that would be what I was going for. He lunged at woman who raised up her hands and shot sharpened bones at Naruto, so you've got dead bone pulse, huh? I hope you've got more than that up your sleeve. He used the Raisin Shurikens like they were meal weapons and took out the bones before they could hit him. Then he threw them at Kagaya, who arched her back at an inhuman angle so that they would go right over her. She shot back up, slightly impressed, not bad, but I can do better. Kagaya grew her hair out, made it as hard as steel. Kakashi made some hand seals and put his hands onto the ground. He created a wall of wood to try and protect his friends. However, it proved no match for the hair. It broke through the wall very quickly, forcing them to jump back. Kakashi was surprised at how easily the wall went down. I know that wasn't my wood release at its strongest, but still, Naruto had the same feeling, she's even stronger than Madara was. Hey, where's Mito? They looked around and saw that Mito had ducked under the hair and was about to punch Kagaya in the stomach. Kagaya caught the fist and held on to Mito's wrist, now let's not be so mean, little girl. I'd hate to have to do something like this. She flung Mito across the battlefield and at her friend. Mito grunted as she hit the ground hard, son of a bitch that hurt. Kagaya gave another evil giggle. You three are going to be a lot of fun. I just can't wait to see if you guys can take me when I really get started. Naruto groaned, she's just getting started? Man, this is gonna be a hard one. Kagaya smiled darkly, you have no idea. Dark clouds began to form in the sky, and lightning began to strike all around them. She can control the weather too, great. See you in the next one.